I think Howie does such a good job of continually trying to improve our football team. No one does it better than he does, and we thought that was an opportunity to add some depth at corner. We feel good about our depth. Obviously, we'll miss Book and wish him the best, and we feel good about our depth at defensive tackle. But just a way to add some depth there at corner.
What's the plan to onboard him, and will he have a chance to compete for a starting job?
Yeah, we'll get them going. We'll get them going, and we'll see how that goes. Obviously, there's a lot of meeting times that we have to make up. We're getting them early in camp though, and so we'll catch them up in some off time, catch them up during the meetings, and have some other things to get him ready to go. I'm sorry.
What does Bennett bring to this team?
Yeah, again, we liked his tape coming out. We liked his tape when he was with with the Raiders, and he's got speed, coverage ability, special teams value. So we're excited to have him.
Nick, what's your philosophy when a starter misses a long stretch of time with injury? When they come back, is it they get their job back, or how do you handle a situation?
Yeah, every situation's obviously a little bit different. As that goes, we're not to a point where we name starters on anything, but every situation's a little bit different, and every scenario is a little bit different. So I wouldn't say we have a cold cut, philosophy of what happens in those scenarios. So. But every situation's a little different.
Bennett was dealing with the shoulder. Have you gotten a chance to evaluate him in the building yet? How's he look health-wise?
Yeah, everything. They go through all sorts. They go through all that before anything's made and official. So I'm looking forward to having him out here and getting him going.
I think you mentioned the depth would be back for some of those guys that are standing out to you.
Yeah, I think obviously you've seen Jordan Davis have a really good camp so far. You've seen Morrow have a really good camp. Jalen Carter's back, obviously, and doing really, really well. I think Byron Young's has done well. The whole group's done well. Gabe, again, just I feel like that group's done a really good job, and Howie does a great job again of getting guys in here. And I can't say enough about our position coaches. Clint Hurt is one of the best position coaches in the NFL. And he does our job as coaches is to develop those guys, right? Get talented players in here, and then our job is to develop them. And I think you've seen that from a lot of our guys, whether that's Bobby King, I've mentioned him before, Clint Hurt, Stout. I think Scott Leffler's doing an excellent job. I mean, I'd love to go through every one of those guys, but I feel like we have position coaches that really do a good job of developing the talent. I don't think that gets talked about enough. Just the job that our assistant coaches, position coaches have done of getting these guys to play good football. It's a team, right? So it's getting the right guys in here, getting good players in here, the right guys in here, and then developing that talent. I think it's worked really well. We'll continue to try to do that.
What does this say about Kelee and Adoree, and what have you seen from that?
Again, just adding depth to that position. I think both of those guys have done an outstanding job. And I know Vic talked about that yesterday. Just that's a battle. You love having battles, and I think you can look out there and see Adoree make a play, and you see Kelee make a play, and you guys have seen it. They're doing a really nice job, and excited about how they worked and how they worked all off season, how they worked all summer, and came in here ready to compete. Competition brings out the best in all our guys, and we're looking forward to continuing those battles with those guys. I think what's really obvious to me with this football team is how much they like to compete. That's part of toughness is your competitive drive. I can't tell you how many times Saquon, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Carter have come up to me and said, "Hey, what's the competition today? Hey, what are we doing for the competition today? Hey, where's why haven't we done one of these yet?" And it's making me force me to think about how different ways we can compete against each other. We got a new way we're going to do it today. But I love the competitive drive of this team. again, like I said, competition brings out the best in everybody. And it gives you ideas. Like we ran a 4th down play the other day. It gives you confidence to be able to go for those things in the season. And I also firmly believe that competition brings teams closer together. The guys that, and we say this all the time, the guys that, if you think back to all the guys that you're closest with, I bet you in this sport, like I bet you competed a lot against them. So, yeah, it's been good competition, and I like what's going on.
What are you most eager to see on Thursday night? And defensively, do you let Vic have a say in whether he wants to play certain guys or not?
Yeah, ultimately, at the end of the day, Howie and I have to make those decisions of who's playing. Obviously, I listen to input from all our coaches, what they think, and what they're feeling. But at the end of the day, just like everything, I got to make some final decisions. But yeah, we talk through everything. I guess what you're looking for when you play a game like this is that you're looking at all your habits. When the pressure's high and the stakes are high, that all your habits come to life, right? And so you want to see good tackling, you want to see good ball security, you want to see good takeaway ability, you want to see good blocking, you want to see good block destruction, you want to see smart situational football, you want to see all those different things right there. What's up, guys? All right, you want to see all those things, right? We want to see all those things right there.
Is it right to look at it that Bennett will be part of that battle for the outside spot?
We'll see how that. We'll see. Yeah, we're excited to get him out there and start getting him going and see what he has.
Have you made any decisions about
How big is the preseason game for guys like trying for a roster spot that maybe you can't really see?
Yeah, as you can see, our practice is highly competitive. We're out in the field. Our guys are highly competitive. We make an emphasis of being competitive. You see a lot out there. Obviously, there's more. It's live, which is different. And so you'll see more live tackling. I think that's the biggest thing is what you'll see is that. But again, like I said, you're just looking for all your habits to come to fruition, come to life there.
Have you made a decision about Thursday? Have you made a decision about Thursday with playing?
Yeah, still thinking through all those things. Everything's discussed. We spent a lot of time discussing it, and we'll see how that goes. And, today's practice this will be our 3rd day in a row in practice, and we'll see how guys are feeling after this and go from there. Yeah, don't get too much into that. Obviously, we don't have to put an injury report out right now. As you can see, they're working through some things, and when they get back out there, we'll be excited to have them.
You were saying before, Nick, about Saquon and Jalen being so invested in practice. In your experience, is it rare for superstars to be so invested in practice?
No, I think your best players on good teams, your best players work the hardest, are the most competitive, because then everything else follows after that. So I wouldn't say that's rare. I think that's a staple of good football teams.
With Jihad Campbell, how do you make sure that you harness his aggressiveness in practice so that it doesn't go over the line sometimes?
I'm sorry?
With Jihad, how do you make sure you harness his aggressiveness in practice so that it doesn't go over the line?
Yeah, if an offensive lineman's coming out to block him, he's gonna have to put his hands on him and get off that block. So our practices are aggressive. Our practices are high paced, and so he's out there and ready to go.
Have you called competition at right guard?
I'm sorry?
Have you called the competition at right guard?
Have I called it?
Or you just see Tyler Steen basically his job?
Yeah, again, we don't have to name any starters at this particular point. Tyler's obviously been in there with the ones, and Tyler's doing a really good job. I thought Tyler had a really good off season. The way he worked, I get reports. I talk to the strength staff, every single day. Give me a report on this, and Tyler Steen seemed to come back every single time of how good he was doing in the weight room with his strength, with his agility, all those things. So pleased with where he is right now, and I look forward to continue him growing.
But Julo mentioned that against the Bengals, it's not like a real game. Obviously, you guys aren't scheming them up like you would in a week process. How are you kind of working towards a game day operation, just how you are working as an offense. You mentioned in practice. Like,
Yeah, again, just the way we practice, we get a lot of work in at practice as far as our game day operation, where the refs are spotting the ball, we're making decisions on situations on the fly. We'll look to do those same things in the game, get ourselves an opportunity to go through in a full game setting of our operations. But like I said, we've had a couple operations practices to date in practice, so it'll just be good to continue to grow. We got to work just like the players got to work to be ready for the games as well. So just another opportunity for us to do so.
Some of these past seasons, you've had 2 joint practices or against 2 teams. Why only 1 this year, second year in a row?
Yeah, I think you guys, if you look back at our history, I never want to do it the first week. The first week of preseason. I think there's just too many things, and everybody does it a little different. I just think you're still going through installs, right? We just installed our backed up in 4-minute yesterday. You guys saw, and so you're still going through your installs, and so you want to make sure you get everything in and still compete against each other. The last 2 years, we've played on Friday night, and then this year on Thursday. So a little too close for my comfort as far as a joint practice before that. And I know it's only a couple of days, but that's just kind of the philosophy I have. And then, our work there this year is going to be against the Browns for 2 days. And sometimes you get 2 days against a team. Sometimes you get 1 day versus, 2 teams. So we're still getting 2 joint practices, but that's kind of the philosophy-wise, Zach.
With AJ,
What's the practical effect beyond just keeping good players of the way Howie has gone about handing out contracts and keeping guys?
Yeah.
Is it load off your mind?
Well, yeah, sure. Again, Howie's the best in the world at what he does, and it's really awesome to work with him every day and to go through that. Go through everything, every day-to-day things with him, and so. I just think he does a great job, and it works for us.
How valuable has the opportunity been for like Johnny Wilson and Nia Smith getting like first team reps with AJ being out and Devontae before that?
Yeah, anytime that you're, obviously the ones in our practices get more reps, so they're getting more reps than they would get when they were with the 2s. So anytime you get more reps, and that's huge. It builds trust and with the quarterback, which is always big. Johnny had a big 3rd down catch in a backed up scenario yesterday, which again builds confidence, and so. Yeah, I think those guys in that wide receiver room are doing a nice job. Jahan's been good all off season. Same thing, like kind of how I mentioned Tyler Steen. Jahan is another guy that's really showed up. And then it's been good battle for that 4 or 5 spot. I think Anias shows great quickness and acceleration. He's scrappy. Johnny, I think it's probably underestimated how much Johnny did for us last year on that field. One of our better special teams players. A guy that was very powerful at the point of attack on the number 1 rushing team. And then looking forward to Terrace getting back out there. Elijah Cooks is doing a good job. Darius Cooper's got a lot of talent, and we're excited to continue to work with those guys.
Last one, Banner taking a big step forward this year as the backup. How much do you learn from preseason games, live reps for guys that are, not fully entrenched in getting all that playing?
Yeah, again, preseason games tell us a lot, and we're so excited to play those. It's such a great evaluation tool. But we wouldn't be doing our job in practice if we weren't going about our practice the way we do, where we get to evaluate there. So, I think the only thing that's different is that it's live to the ground. But our offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, they're essentially going live every single play that we have pads on. And so we get that evaluation there. So Tanner's had a nice camp so far. And that's just a good sign of, when you have reps, like Tanner had been used to getting, 2 reps at the end of the 3s or three or 4 reps, whatever it was. now he's getting those extra reps with the twos, and he's done a nice job, and we'll continue to evaluate him at practice and preseason games, and we'll just look to continue to develop him. And like I said, Scott Leffler's doing a great job. I know that quarterback room, Jalen in that quarterback room, the guys get to learn from him. That's huge. Kevin is in the quarterback room an awful lot. Parks, Frazier's in that quarterback room. So there's a lot of guys in there that are helping with that development.